Hey everybody, welcome back to Kill by Daylight, and welcome to the first episode of Oh God! Not another review show. We're kicking this series off in a huge way because I watched the duology that took over the internet. Or at least the one movie that took over the internet and made me aware of the most cringy Notice Me Senpai person of all time, and the first movie in the franchise. The Terrifier duology, and now I'm going to talk about it. Terrifier 1 came out in 2016 and was created by Damien Leone. I'm assuming that's how you pronounce his last name because there's an E at the end of it. Makes it sound fancy. I'm pretty sure it's not Damien Leon, but I could be wrong, but I'm going to pronounce it Leone because, again, it sounds fancier. He is also the creator of the entire Terrifier franchise, which I dig a lot. I like when a franchise has the same visionary behind every movie. It leads to a better continuity and a more cohesive story down the line. I'm looking at you, Star Wars and Marvel, a lot of the time. That'd be great. Leone also created an anthology film in 2013 called All Hallows Eve, which featured Art the Clown, as well as a short film back in 2011, also named Terrifier, and also a short film way back in 2008 called The Ninth Circle, which is listed as the first appearance of Art the Clown. That's a lot of Art the Clown in a long time span. If I had to guess, knowing nothing about the previous works and knowing nothing about the movies I watched, I'd guess that Terrifier 2016 is heavily based off of those previous works, but I do not know. Before I watched Terrifier 1, not having seen anything like I said about the movie, I wrote down some of my expectations and my hopes, what I thought I would get and what I hoped I would get. Spoiler alert, my expectations were incredibly low and biased. My expectations, low-budget schlock, special effects, and acting on par with an asylum movie slash sci-fi original movie, a terrible plot that's just a vehicle for the killings to happen to showcase Art the Clown, and most importantly, an annoying main villain in Art the Clown. From the screenshots I have seen of him, he looks like he'd have more quips than Freddy Krueger in Dream Warriors. What I was hoping for was a throwback to 80s slashers that has good practical effects, good scares, with some campiness that makes the characters endearing without making them unlikable like the later F-13 movies. With that said, here's your spoiler warning, and let's get into Terrifier. Alright, I just got done watching Terrifier. Where do I start? Do I have to start? Question I have. Right off the bat, one of my expectations completely blown out of the water. This movie looks great. It looks way better than I was anticipating and expected. Looks amazing, right? I was expecting schlock, CGI, just like on par with a sci-fi original movie or an asylum flick. No, it is professionally shot, on location, no CGI. It looks good. It looks like a throwback to 70s grindhouse films. And it fits the aesthetic and what they're going for. Lots of, not lots of, but like a subtle film grain effect. Saturation and contrast cranked all the way the fuck up. It looks really, really good, and you can tell that Damien Leone knows what the hell he's doing. He knows what he's doing, right? He's been doing this since, what was it? 2009 or something like that? What do I have my notes? 2008, yeah. So he's been making films, movies, whatever you want to call them, Scorsese, since 2008, and I think even like the trailer says like, oh, from the creator of All Hallows Eve, which is like the last feature before this movie that featured Art the Clown, right? He knows what he's doing. Dude is a good filmmaker, right? That's not my problem with the movie, but let's get into it, right? So we start with an interview. We start in like a dingy basement. It took me a while to figure out, oh, this takes place in fucking Brooklyn or some shit like that. Like, trying to figure like, what is everybody's accent? No, it's Brooklyn. There's like a clear shot of an MTA card, a Metro card. Like, oh, I recognize that. Okay, we're in the city. At least I'm pretty sure it's New York. I forget what they said, like where it is, like Deer Hills or something like that. But dingy basement. Opening shot is on a small ass CRT TV, like very, very small. Like, I think my phone is bigger than it. And it's like staticky and all this stuff. It's of an interview, and the interview is interviewing a survivor of one of Art's massacres. I forget what they said. Not important. But the interview asks the, I almost said contestant, that ain't it, the survivor of his massacre, what was it like when you first saw your face after you came out of your coma, after you woke up, right? And hard smash cut to her face, and it caused a legitimate oh shit moment out of me. And this is where I realized, oh, we have a budget. We have good, really good practical effects. So far, so great. Thumbs up for me, right? It's all good in the hood. And the interviewer asks her, like, you know, they got him. The police got him. He's dead. And the survivor's like, no, they didn't. Ominous, very spooky. Okay. Then Art kicks the TV because he gets upset or something like that. And then we see him go through his procedure of whatever the hell he's doing, and I had the realization of, oh, he's just a dude? The thing is, my only thing I've seen about this movie was an article I believe Bloody Disgusting posted with an interview from Damien Leone, which, great source to have, where he explains that Terrifier 3 is going to be an in-between of, like, supernatural and, like, normal. Or as he put it in a way where it's like, oh, it's gonna be a in between number 1 and number 2, where it's gonna be a normal guy but also supernatural. So I'm like, okay, which is the second movie supernatural? Is the first one supernatural? What is it? Art's just a dude in this, but he's like Michael Myers dude level, where he takes some shots, and dude just keeps trucking. But like, all right, sure, he's making all of his toys and all that stuff. Like, all right, cool. Putting his face paint on. All right, dope, cool. Very reminiscent of Freddy vs. Jason, where the opening shot is of Freddy like getting his claws ready and putting the pictures in the picture book, and it's very creepy, very ominous, very cool. Again, dude knows what he's doing. Damien Leone knows what he's doing. That's the dude I'm talking about, not Art. And then we smash cut to the dressing room of the interviewer. She's on the phone with, I'm gonna assume, her hubby, maybe her fuckboy, I don't know. But she's shit talking the person that she just interviewed, like, oh my god, her face, fucking gross. I almost threw up. And we're gonna make millions off of this. It's gonna be great. And she hears something behind her, and it's a coat rack, or a costume rack, right? And it's like, oh, okay, I see where this is going. It's very obvious. The trope is here, right? She's shit-talking the survivor some more, and then she's like, I gotta go. And she checks the coat rack. Oh, it's nothing behind there. And then we get jump scared by the survivor. Caught me off guard. Again, I was not expecting that. I thought we were gonna go, oh, Art's pissed. He's gonna kill the interviewer. No, it's actually the survivor. All right, cool. And we get a better look at the prosthetic mask, and it's fucking dope. Great practical effects. All aboard the hype train. I'm enjoying myself already. Lots of gore, blood spewing. Fucking dope. We are then introduced to our main characters, two very attractive ladies, young women, college students. Never said what they were. They were just out partying on Halloween. And the blonde chick got like some numbers, and she's the raven-haired chick is like, oh, you got a lot of numbers. You can try to whatever. Then we meet Art. He's just walking down the street with a duffel bag, not a duffel bag, but like a garbage bag full of because we can assume his toys. And the blonde chick, too drunk to drive, they decide to go get food. First they see Art. Raven-haired chick has the right inclination. Avoid that dude. He's bad. Blonde chick, drunk off her ass. They're both drunk off their ass, but her more so. She's flirty. She yells out to him like, ah, my friend wants your number. Like, that's bad. This is already setting up bad for you too. Art teleports, disappears, something like that. They decide to go get food. Smash cut to pizzeria. All right. They're ordering food, and then Art walks in, and shenanigans happens where he keeps dead-eyeing the 96 Neve Campbell looking chick. She looks like Neve Campbell from Scream. Like, all right, I don't know if that's intentional or if that's just coincidental, but either way, cool, down with it. He keeps making side eye, and this is where I found out. Oh, he's got great facial expressions. He's like hamming it up. Like, he doesn't say a word in this movie. He says it with his face, and he's the dude behind it. I don't remember his name. Is it on David Howard Thornton? He's emoting very well with his face, and from what I understand, it's a ton of prosthetics. It's great. I'm like, I understand why people like you. Our Neve Campbell chick, Tara, does not like him because he's a fucking creep. He gets up, takes a coin off of the counter, and puts it in a fucking turnstile machine, and gets a ring out, and basically proposes to her. Oh, it's endearing, and he's very charming without saying anything. Like, all right, I see why people enjoy this guy. Cool. He then wanders to the back of the pizzeria, like in between, like the pizzeria owners, like asking for his order, and he's like, "Oh, this fucking guy, very Italian, right?" And then the guy delivers their pizza, and he's like, "Hey, if that guy's troubling you, I'll take care of him." He walks to the back, and not seconds later, he's going, "You son of a bitch, you fucking disgusting fuck." He kicks him out. We later find out in another scene that he shit and pissed everywhere in the bathroom and wrote his name on the wall in shit. He was back there for good, like 30 seconds. He had a lot of time. But our two main characters leave. The blonde chick, God damn it. She's like, "Oh, I bet he went back there and jizzed everywhere." And I'm like, do I really need to imagine that? And then Neve Campbell is like, did you really need to say that out loud? Now I gotta think about that? Like, thank you, we're on the same wavelength. Cut back to the pizzeria. The second in command, I'm trying to remember all this stuff because one scene in particular sticks out, and you can guess what it is if you've seen the movie already. Second in command, to the pizza king, right, is like forced to clean it up, and he's bitching about like, "Yo, I handle food, this is disgusting, I want what the fuck is the terminology?" Oh, he wants overtime, but he says the terminology of time plus 1.5 or something like that. It's one of those, right? It's like overtime. I want overtime. And he's like calling to his boss, and he walks out, throws away his dish gloves, and then he turns around and sees a very cool scene. I don't want to count it as Art's first kill, but it kind of is, because we turn around and his boss's head is not attached to his body, but instead put on the counter of the pizzeria and lit up like a jack-o'-lantern. That's a cool thing. That's a cool shot, and Art's there going, "Hi," but he doesn't say hi because he doesn't say anything. And then chases the pizza boy in the back, kills the pizza boy in a gruesome way, blood's everywhere. Like, I dig it, right? I love Saw, I love slasher movies. I'm in a good place right now, so it's great. Our friends, our main characters go back to the car. Like, we're just gonna go fucking home because we're sober now, kinda. We ate, like, all right, fine. Dawn, the blonde chick, her tire was slashed. Like, all right, they sit in the car. Neve Campbell calls her sister, like, "Hey, can you pick us up?" It's like, all right. She's like, "I can't. I have to study for my midterm tomorrow. I gotta be in at 5 a.m. And we're like, it's like, okay, 2 a.m. maybe. And then two fucking horny teens, I don't want to call them teens because they're not teens, they're like in college, but they just bust into her room and start making out, and she's like, "All right, I gotta stretch my legs." All right, cool scene. So she's gonna go pick them up. They're waiting in the car, and then Neve Campbell has to piss. Yeah, that's the entire crux of the next hour of the movie. She has to piss. Okay. So Dawn is like, just go then. And Neve Campbell says, "What, you want me to just go outside the car and pop a squat? I can't pop a squat anywhere. What do you want me to do?" And Dawn makes the very good point. It's the middle of the night. nobody's around. Just go piss. And then a dude walks out of a building. We later know him as Mike the Exterminator. And Dawn's like, just go ask, you could just go ask that creepy fucking dude who just walked out of that creepy fucking building if he could do it. And Neve Campbell does it. Why would you do that? I guess she was like, oh, it's gonna be a while, so I gotta piss. Whatever. And then Mike is there exterminating for rats. I'm like, oh, it is New York. Cool. But he leads us to the bathroom and shenanigans ensues. I'm trying to remember, because we're close to the scene that is sticking out in my mind, and I'm just like, okay, how did we get there? Oh no, we're back in the car. And Dawn is sitting in the car listening to the radio, and a police report comes on going, oh, 2 guys were murdered at the pizzeria. And she goes, oh, fuck. And then the car door opens and closes, and she's looking at her phone. And we, as the audience, go, it's art. It's gonna be art. We know it's art. It's art! And he we don't see what he does. She kind of screams, and then we hard smash cut back to Neve Campbell. And she's trying to figure a way out. She hears a cat. Nothing ever comes of this. To my knowledge, nothing ever comes of this. She hears a cat. She goes searching for the cat. And it's like a big garage. It's a rundown building. It's a big old garage. I don't know why the fuck they're exterminating the place. It's like condemned. Okay, whatever. She goes by like a giant stack of tires and like she sees something. And as she's like, that's weird. And she starts to back up. She bumps into a homeless lady, a crazy homeless lady. Yep. We have assortment of cast in this movie. If you remember what I said about like, oh, what I was expecting. Yeah, we're kind of hitting that point, right? A terrible plot that's just a vehicle for the killings to happen. We're getting there. Don't worry, honeys. Don't worry, my art maniacs. But she bumps into the old lady, and we know, or the homeless lady, and we know she's crazy because she's cradling a baby doll and going, this is my baby. We go like, oh, she's insane. All right. Art then finds Neve Campbell, tracks her down. We go through this entire chase scene, including a hide and seek thing, and she gets stabbed in the leg. And I have to question, what? How is she running? How is she running? She got stabbed a lot. I don't know how she's still running without like, oh my god, ow, no limp, none of that. But she gets away, kinda, and then Art. She makes her way up to the 2nd floor where Mike is, but he's smoking a cigarette, spraying fumigation fumes, and he's got his earbuds in, listening to music. Classic trope, gotta love it. And she screams like, help me! And then she gets taken. As she gets taken around the corner, he goes, what? Must have been nothing, and he goes back doing what he's doing. Art then sedates her, like he jabs her with a needle, and that's kind of how that happened. And then we smash cut or fade into her being duct taped to a chair, and Art rummaging in his bag of goods, and he picks up a rusty axe, like a super rusty axe, like that's tetanus. And he's like threatens her, like, oh, no. He puts it down, picks up a rusty ass hacksaw, and he's like threatening to cut her neck, and he's like, no. And he walks over to this tarp that's hanging up, and then he pulls it down, and it's Dawn hanging upside down, nothing but her panties. And the movie starts up on Amazon Prime, is how I watched this. It started up rated 18 plus for sexual content and nudity and offensive language. Fun fact, there's not that much offensive language in this. I think they maybe dropped an F-bomb less than I have done in this portion of the video, less than 17 minutes of this video. It's not a lot. It's actually very tame. Very, very tame. It's used very sparingly but effectively, right? But she's strung up, upside down. We all know where this is going. If we've seen Saw, we know, alright. How the fuck are we doing this, right? So she's naked. I was wondering, okay, which one is showing her tits? I figured it was Dawn because she was drunk and horny the entire movie. I figured she's like, oh, she's gonna flash her tits to Art. Like, oh shit. She's upside down, and I was like, oh, those are great, but fuck, this is Gonna be weird, isn't it? And then he rips her panties off. We don't see anything. Very tasteful. That was sarcasm. And then he goes to town with a hacksaw. There's a slit there. Let's continue it, right? That whole... This was shock value for shock value. This scene, this kill, everything up to this point is like, all right. We didn't see him cut off the pizzeria guy's head and put candles in it. We didn't see that. We saw him kill the pizza boy, the assistant, the #1 in command. We saw him do that, but it was very like cut back and forth between Dawn and Tara talking in the car, how he's weird and how he couldn't hurt a fly, blah blah blah. So we didn't see anything really gruesome. This goes on for far too long. It's him sawing like, oh my god, and he keeps fucking going. They cut back to Neve Campbell. Cut back, he's still fucking going. He's down to the belly button. He's still fucking going. Cut back to Neve Campbell screaming and freaking the fuck out, as she should. And cut back to him, he's still going. He's down to the ribcage, down to her tits. And he's still fucking going. And then we cut back to Neve Campbell, be like, oh my god. We cut back to Art. He's still fucking going. He's on her. He's through her neck and at her head, and he's fucking having trouble. And they hold on to him trying to fucking saw through her head for a solid few seconds. And it's like, oh my fucking lord, we get it. We fucking get it. You came up with this wild way to kill somebody. We get it. It goes on for far too long, and it is shock value for shock value. It's just torture porn at that point. I grew up being a fan of Saw when it came out. Every fucking commentator and movie review on the internet being like, it's just torture porn. No, motherfuckers. Have you seen this scene? It's like 30 minutes into the movie, 45 minutes into the movie. It took me out of it. This is where I'm like, oh, I was on for the ride, and then it's like, wow, this is going on for far too long. I'm just taken out of it. Like, I paused the movie, I went to take a piss, I came back, or like, I hit unpause, I just started pacing around my room. So I'm like, I'm waiting for this movie to end now so I can just talk about it. This scene took me out of it, man. It's all I can remember from the movie. It's like, oh man, that's it. And from here, we fulfill our prophecy of it's a terrible plot that's just a vehicle for killings to happen. Although, could it be considered a terrible plot if there is no plot at all? People just show up to this building for various reasons and then they die. That's what happens. My other guess of like, oh, he's an annoying main villain. Like, I think I said like, oh, he looks like he'd have more quips than Freddy. He doesn't talk, so no. So I only got one expectation right. But this scene is just like, okay, people who love this series and like go to bat for it and die on these hills, I'm like, oh, what type of character are you? What is your mental makeup that you're like, yo, fuck yes, Terrifier? Like, is it this scene? I can't show any of this. I don't think you're gonna see any clips from this movie in this review. I don't think I can show any of it, especially this scene. Like bare tits and I can't show any of this. I don't think I can show any of this. I could probably show like the survivor from the interview, be like, oh shit, look at that prosthetic, it looks really good. I was all aboard the hype train, like, okay, I'm enjoying this. It's like 45 minutes went by really fast. Like, all right, we're halfway through, fuck yeah. The last 45 minutes are a slog because this scene took me out of it. If they just went, oh shit, she's tied up, sweet tits. Oh, he removes the panties and he starts sawing, we hear screams, and then like cut back to Neve Campbell, he's sawing, he's halfway through now, we cut back, we cut to Neve Campbell screaming and freaking the fuck out, we cut back to Art, he's down at the head already, oh my god, and we don't linger and that's it? No, they got a really good prosthetic and really good blood effects out of it, so they really wanted to show this shit off. It just took me out of it. Not from like, oh my god, I'm disturbed. Oh my god, I'm shocked. It's just like, this adds nothing. The only thing we get is a little later on, the crazy homeless lady is talking to Mike, and she says, he's killing people because he thinks it's funny. Like, okay. Cool. Nev Campbell breaks free from her bindings. Art's reasonably pissed. He like beats her up, or she like clocks him and she runs away, and she starts beating the shit out of him. I think she stabs him in the back at one point. I'm like, why did you stop? Why did you? This man is trying to kill you. Why did you take one swing, leave the knife in his back, which disappears later on? It's not in his back anymore, so he's very flexible, I'm assuming. And why didn't you just keep fucking stabbing him, man? Because, like, she smacks him in the head with a board. He gets knocked flying for a little bit. He's on the ground like, oh my, and he, like, slow to get up. She's like, come on, motherfucker. Come on. And then he has a gun. For reasons. He shoots her. He shoots her in, like, in the kneecap, and then, like, she's down. He shoots her in the gut. A very weird scene where she's down, she's bleeding, she's dying. He points the gun at her and he fires. We smash cut to crazy cat lady going, oh my god. Maybe the tenant, the new neighbors aren't the best or something like that. She says some off the wall shit, right? Because when Nev Campbell bumped into her earlier in the scene when they first met, she's like, you must be the new tenant. So that's a callback, I guess. Then we cut back and she's not worse for wear than we just saw. She's still bleeding out, but he's like out of bullets. He's like, beans. And then he walks away. He goes to his little rucksack, his little knapsack. The big ass garbage bag. It's not little. And he has an extra clip. He puts it in, he walks over, and our main character is dead. He shoots her in the fucking head about 15 different times. And then a smash cuts the crazily homeless lady going, oh my word! And she runs up the stairs. I'm like, the crazy homeless lady is now the real main character. Sure, movie. Sure. She runs up the stairs, runs into Mike, tells Mike the sitch. That's where we get oh, he's killing people for fun. She then leaves? Or she runs into Art? I'm having trouble remembering. I just watched this movie, check my notes, what OBS says, 25 minutes? Probably 30 minutes ago? So it wasn't that long ago, and this scene happened about 40 minutes ago, or 45 minutes ago, something like that. Again, it's just that one scene, like, oh shit. He cut her open. He's still going. Oh wow, he is still going. They're still showing this. Wow, okay, this is shock value for shock value, no substance. Okay, cool. But she like runs into him. I guess they interact, and it's very ambiguous of what happens. No, Vicky shows up. Tara's sister shows up. She's like, where are you? She texts, where are you? And then Art with the phone texts, oh, Tara is sick, meet us in the back. And then that's how she gets into the story. Yay. Yeah. Mike is like, what the fuck is happening? All right, and he calls his boss, I guess, or his brother, or some shit like that. And then Art just like bonks him on the head. He just hits him in the head with a hammer, like knocks him out. He doesn't do anything else. He just leaves him there. Like, all right, cool. Vicky starts getting terrorized, or no, she walks through. She sees Dawn all split in half. They love the prosthetic. They love that. They keep showing it. Like, all right, cool, guys. It looks great. You guys know what you're doing. You got some real good prop makers. Fantastic. That scene just went on for very, very long. It could have been cut down by at least 75%, I think. That's just me. I'm sure some people will be like, oh, you're just a prude. Like, no. No, honey, no. You need to look yourself in the mirror about this one, hon. But she comes across two bodies. One is laying face down with black hair and is on the floor naked, crawling towards her. She's like, oh my god, I'll get help. Oh my god. And then we cut to the homeless crazy lady on the floor with like her chest all cut up and like no hair. And then Art reveals himself to, no shit, have ripped her tits off and he wore them around. And he scalped her and wore her hair. So he's literally running around chasing Vicky in, like, I guess high heels, because he was, like, sauntering pretty good. Just sweet parrot tits and some sweet hair. Just chasing her around. So, homeless lady's dead, so I'm like, who the fuck is our main character? I guess Vicky's the main character now, right? Like, is this how Terrifier 2 and eventually 3 is gonna be? Like, oh, you get to know these characters for a half hour. Fuck them, they're dead, now you just revolving door of main characters? Is that how this works? Oh, no, I remember how Homeless Lady found Art. It was a weird fucking scene, because I had to question my own sanity what I was watching. Yeah, it's in the tunnels underneath the fucking warehouse. It looks like a fucking... I don't know, it looks like a catacomb, kinda. And, like, she lost her baby! So she goes looking for it, and she finds Art cradling it on the floor. And then she has a fucking talk with Art, kinda like... reaches his inner soul, man. Speaks to his soul. She's like, have you ever felt the touch of a mother? Do you not have any caring in your heart? Or some shit like that. And she starts petting Art. Like, she puts her hand on his face and he kind of starts nuzzling like a cat. I'm like, what the fuck? What are we doing here, buds? What is happening here? I'm losing my fucking mind, that's what happened. And then she dies and yada yada yada. But, cut to outside. Right. Car pulls up, it's Mike's, I'm assuming brother, because we get a shot at the end of their truck. This is like, oh, whatever bros. Like, alright. Exterminators. He shows up and is almost immediately killed. Okay, sure. I kept checking the runtime because I'm like, how much longer do I have to suffer for? So again, I'm completely out of it for the last like 45, 50 minutes after Dawn's death. I'm like, all right, cool. Like, I had no connection to her. I thought she was gonna die anyway because she's drunk and horny. So, and she was also bad mouthing ours. So I'm like, all right, she's gonna be one of the first to go. I'm like, all right, cool. It's just like a gratuitous way. It's like, all right, it lends nothing. It's just like, oh, he's fucked up. You get it, Shinji? Get in the mech. He's fucked up. Whatever. Then Art finds a tricycle for some reason, and then rides it around for reasons. He's just having fun, I guess. I'm watching him ride it around, and like it's a scene that like he's still chasing Vicky. He's still chasing Vicky. He had time to kill fucking Mike's brother or whoever the fuck that was. But he's on he found a tricycle and he's chasing Vicky on a tricycle. I was like, all right, what's happening here? What is going on? I don't know. And then like Vicky gets away, kinda. She's like stealthing away, Solid Snake style. And then Art is just behind her. Motherfucker has big ass shoes, makes no noise. I was questioning, is he supernatural? Like, what, is he supposed to be human? We see him putting on his gloves and he's getting dressed. Like, is he supposed to be supernatural throughout the entire movie? Because he teleports. He teleports behind her, he puts a plastic bag around her face, and she struggles for a very long time. Like, is she gonna die here? Does she just die and we, like, who the fuck is our main character? We still have, like, 25, 30 minutes left to go. What's happening? But she finally realized, oh, if I open my mouth, I go, and I rip the bag or the plastic, he can't suffocate me. And even Art's like, oh, fuck, she figured it out. Oh, shit. She stabs him in the foot with a rusty nail. She gets away. She finds her sister's dead corpse. It has, like, a fucking particle board on it, just painted black with the word circus on it, and she's strung up in lights. For reasons. Because he's quirky, I guess. And then Art teleports again. He has like a cat of nine tails, which like is a whipping thing if you don't know what that is. But it's like made of like just rusty chains and like they get a close up on it later. Like, oh fuck, he's fucked up, get it? They got a scissor attached to it and like a scalpel, and she's whipping and cutting her. We see Mike on the second floor waking up and crawling, slowly crawling, dazed as fuck, knocked out still. Art's whipping and whipping and whipping, and then Mike seemingly teleports to the basement from like the second or third floor, and then knocks Art out. Narcs him out. He narcs Art out. It's like, okay. They run away. Vicky is shell-shocked because she just saw her sister's best friend bisected, upside down, like, alright, and her dead sister. Reasonable to be shell-shocked in these two instances. Also getting chased around by a weird fucking clown man. Valid reason to be like, I'm dead. I'm dead inside. Sure. They find a phone. Mike makes a call to the police, and then subsequently dies because Art is just there again. And in a hilarious scene, he's like stomping a mud hole into Mike's fucking head, while Vicky takes like a fucking stick and starts beating a padlock, like a master lock, trying to break open the master lock to unlock the chain door that they're trying to get out of. And Art's just like taking his time, just stomping a mud hole, walking it dry. Like, Jesus Christ, alright. At least there's a cut, like, alright, cool. And then Vicky gets away. Vicky somehow, like, succeeds in breaking the lock. Alright, cool. Chase sequence. She gets outside, and then she goes back inside. And I'm like, why did you do that? What? I guess to get away from him, because she gets into, like, this barn door that's chained up. She does get grabbed, but he can't get in. So he just kind of goes away. He just leaves, and then she's like, she has a weapon. She's like, is he gonna come back? She doesn't say that, but she's like, is he coming? She goes to look, and then fucking blinding lights, a fucking truck is barreling towards the door. She kind of gets out of the way, kind of doesn't, because she gets hit, and she, like, we smash cut to her on the floor, like, bleeding heavily. And then Art walks over, saunters over, sexily. He's a sex symbol, goddammit. He had a sweet pair of tits before, so yeah. And then, like, bends down, like, sniffs her? Very weird. And then just, like, the police show up. I'm like, I press X to doubt. This is New York on Halloween. I doubt the police are showing up within 5 minutes of you calling them, no matter how far you are from the precinct. But the police show up. They're like, yo, put your hands up. Put your hands up. Last warning, and they're calling in dispatch and all this other shit. Art reaches in his sock. This is drawn out. Builds suspense. He pulls out a gun. He pulls it out of his sock and quickly turns around, and he's got it in his mouth. And he offs himself. And I go, huh. That's a twist to do. Okay, I'm kind of in again, kinda. And then one of the like, they call the dispatch, like, oh, we got a fucking casualty, shots fired, all this other, like, protocol shit. Then one of the police officer goes, huh, she's still breathing. Despite her, like, getting her face eaten. And I go, I can do math. I can do math. I understand what we're doing here. Makes it fucking very, very weird, but I understand. And then we get, like, our last shot is... Not last shot, but our second to last shot is, ambulance drivers driving in the bodies to the coroner. Coroner makes some quips, including a good one of, like, hey, if you guys are making me stay here for, like, another 17 hours, get me a sandwich, a breakfast sandwich with bacon. Or just something with bacon. And the chick goes, aren't you supposed to be watching your cholesterol? And he goes, yeah, I'm watching it go up. Who's the MD here? That got a chuckle from me. That was pretty funny. And then he, like, the one body bag is Mike. He's got no face because he got stomped in. And the other one is Art. He opens up Art's. The lights start to flicker. Things start to happen. We hear crazy homeless lady, her line before, like, you must be the lieutenant. He does it because he has fun. He thinks it's fun. And then our corner dude turns around, gets got by Art. Smash cut 1 year later. It's Vicky in a wheelchair. We don't see her face because obvious reveal. We don't see her face, but her parents going like, oh, she's gonna, you know, she's high. The nurse goes, she's in high spirits. One of our favorites. She's good to go though. All right, have a good day. Have day. And they start to wheel around, and the mom's as subtle as a brick to the face goes, good luck on your interview tomorrow. You're gonna do great. And turn around, oh my god, it's the chick from the interview. And it's like, what? I appreciate the twist. I'm just wondering the timeline, because Art is watching the interview on TV. I guess that could have been a pre-recorded thing. It's... Again, I was so out of it, just like, be glad to be done with this. Yeah, that's Terrifier 1. Overall, go back to my notes. I was expecting low budget schlock, special effects, and acting on par of an asylum movie or sci-fi original movie. Didn't happen. The movie looked great. Great practical effects. Really good blood work. Very, very good. To an impressive level. That is an indie film. Very, very good. A terrible plot that's just a vehicle for the killings to happen. That happens to the second half. Like, after Neve Campbell and Dawn die, it's just like, alright, we spent like a solid half hour with these two characters, now they're just dead. Who do we relate to? Like, sorority chick that, like, was working on a paper, or crazy homeless lady? Like, who do we really follow now? Just like, there was nothing after that to have me, like, interested in the movie. Because you want a final girl that you've come to know throughout the entire movie. So Neve Campbell getting out of there and running away from Art, and other people around her starting to die, but she escapes narrowly. That keeps my interest. Cause like, okay, I want to see her survive because we've come to know her for a half an hour of a 90-minute movie. Less than that. I think it's like 84 minutes or something like that. 86 minutes, something like that. But like, we've come to know her and get to know her and be like, I want to see you survive. And then she's just killed unceremoniously by a gun. Like, oh, that's boring as fuck. Okay. An annoying main villain in Art? No, I found him quite enjoyable. I understand why people really like him. Right, he had good facial expressions. He was very charismatic. Not saying a goddamn word. Very charismatic. Like, alright, I see it. Even when he was, like, post... shock value, post, torture porn scene. Like, he was still, like... The trike scene was like, what the fuck is happening? He's just very quirky and, like... Alright, I see why people like him. He's very charming, like, and very likable. Alright, cool. For a murderer, I say. Like, alright, I understand. What I was hoping for was a throwback to 80s slasher with good practical effects. We did get that. It is a throwback to Nightmare and Friday the 13th and Texas Chainsaw, stuff like that. Especially Texas Chainsaw with the gore. So we did get that. A lot of gore, a lot of good practical effects. Very good. Top tier practical effects. Scares? No, not so much. It was just, it's a slasher grindhouse movie. There's no scares. They try to scare you. There's jump scare sound effects some places, but it's like, I've been through the ringer, man. I've been a horror fan for 26 years now, something like that. I've seen it all, Jack. I understand jump scare noises are like, I am so immune to them, right? Some campiness that makes the characters endearing without making them unlikable. The acting was actually very good. I didn't touch on it, but the acting is actually very good in this. Nobody felt like they were phoning it in or they couldn't act. This is their first thing. They were all very good. And again, they were all very endearing until fucking crazy homeless lady and Vicky, who we didn't know shit about until she showed up. Characters are endearing without making them unlikable. Nobody was unlikable. Like, even, like, fucking Mike and his brother, like, they weren't unlikable. They didn't get many scenes, they didn't get really fleshed out, but they weren't unlikable. Yeah, I sat through it. I considered, like, stopping halfway through after the torture porn scene. I was like, okay, this is enough. This is enough. But no, I stuck through it because it's an enjoyable movie for a gore hound like myself. Like, I appreciate the gore. I appreciate this practical effect. You're gonna come up here and come in here with, like, computer generated, like, oh my god, CGI blood. Like, no, get the fuck out of here. I'm gonna shut your movie off as quick as possible. Give me good practical effects and good props, I'll sit and watch a movie. Even after Dawn's death, I was like, alright, I'll stick around to see what the hell happens, right? To say I watched it, right? I'm never gonna watch the movie again, probably. Maybe I will. I don't know. If I had to rate it, which I will, because that's the point of reviewing a fucking movie, isn't it? It's a solid 8 out of 10. If if Dawn's death was a lot shorter, right? Like, oh, he unveils, like, oh, he goes, sweet tits. We knew they were gonna be sweet. And then he fucking rips her panties off and he starts sawing, and then he starts sawing, we see the blood and she screams, and then, like I said, cut back to Nev Campbell in the chair, cut back, he's already down to her rib cage because he's fucking going hard at that shit. And then we cut to Nev Campbell, cut back, he's already at the face, and he's sawing, and he's sawing, and then he stops. Like, okay, that's shocking, but it's not overdone. It didn't overstay its welcome. In its current form, it goes on for far too long. It's like they had to hit like a certain time limit or something like on the movie. So like, oh fuck, we'll just extend this scene for as long as possible. If that wasn't in, I'd say it's a solid 9, maybe 9.5 out of 10. I enjoyed it up until that scene, and even after that, I was like, okay, what the fuck is Art doing? What is he doing? He's parading around buck naked with a crazy homeless lady's tits, wearing them, and her headpiece as a wig, and he's sauntering around. And at one point I'm like, is he wearing heels? Because he kind of gingerly goes downstairs like he's wearing heels. I'm like, this dude is crazy, and he's again crazy charismatic. He can be likable. He has a lot of emotion. Like, all right, I see why people enjoy him. It's just that one scene, man, that really took me out of it. Hopefully, fucking Terrifier 2 doesn't have any of that stuff, or at least it's cut back, it's more cohesive and in line, but I'm looking at the fucking runtime. It is nearly an extra hour of footage compared to what I just watched. It's 2 hours and 18 minutes. Yeah, just from this little clip I'm seeing, it looks way better. Like, it looks way better. After being resurrected by a sinister entity, Art the Clown returns to a timid town of Miles County, where he begins to target teenage girl and her younger brother on Halloween. It looks like they stopped doing the Grindhouse stuff, so I guess I'll sit through that. Hopefully it's doesn't have any of the over-the-top drawn-out scenes, right? Over-the-top, fine. Gore, fine. It's that one scene took me out of it. So hopefully that is none of that. Hopefully. So, Terrifier 2. Terrifier 2 came out in 2022, lots of 2s in there, and was also created by Damien Leone, as I said before, but was also produced by one Steve Barton. Mr. Barton is the reason why this first episode of Ognars is on the Terrifier duology. I became aware of his presence back in 2022 when he started tweeting at Matthew Cote and Behavior shortly after Terrifier 2 came out, saying that he wanted to see Art the Clown in DBD. He was parading it around like it was his creation when it was very clearly not his. It was Damien Leone's and still is. My problem stems from him tweeting at Cote multiple times a day with the Rotten Tomato scores and personal reviews from horror websites like Bloody Disgusting, a site that I'm a big fan of, BT Dubs, and box office revenue, like that's the only thing Cote and Behavior look at when they consider who they want in Dead by Daylight. When someone said they love an Art skin for the clown, he basically said, fuck the clown, he can suck a huge ding-dong. As a clown main, I can't let that stand, Mr. Barton. This one is personal. My expectations? More or less the same. Art doing wacky things, and lots of blood, lots of gore, lots of practical effects that are really, really good, and very good cinematography, directing, and shot very well, and all that good stuff. My hopes? More of the same, but without the torture porn and shock value for shock value stuff that took me out of the first one. And an actual plot that drives the movie forward would be really cool. Oh, and a cast of characters that we could follow for the entire movie and not hot potato the main character role like the first movie. That would also be cool. With that said, here's your spoiler warning, and let's get into Terrifier 2. So I just got done watching Terrifier 2. All 2 hours and 18 minutes of it. After I watched the first Terrifier, I got into a bit of an existential crisis. I started to wonder if these movies are for me, if they're truly my thing. Is this all the franchise is? Torture porn with no plot, that's just shock value for shock value? Or are we gonna get just Dawn's death and a revolving door of characters that we're supposed to follow, but really, why should we? If I wanted any of that, I'd go watch Urban Spooks again. If you know, you know. Thank the art above, Terrifier 2 doesn't have any of that shit and is way better. Holy crap. Oh, I absolutely had a blast watching Terrifier 2. Such a juxtaposition. I liked Terrifier 1, right? The intro with the interview and all that stuff. Like, oh my god, this is like, okay, I see the vision. Gore, it's got characters, alright. Dawn dies, and then Tara dies, and it's like, it's all downhill from there, because who the fuck do we care about in this movie? Homeless Lady or Vicky? There's nothing for us to, like, latch onto to really, like, care about the movie. Dawn's death was overly done, like I said before, and upon rethinking of it, letting it sit, I took a day off between watching both of them. Rethinking it 2 days later, I would drop my score for Terrifier 1 down to a 6 out of 10. If Dawn's death wasn't so, God, so long and drawn out, probably be an 8 out of 10. So 6 out of 10, it's above a B, right? We'll say that. It's like a B+. Would I watch it again? Probably, maybe at some point. Terrifier 2, spoiler alert, because I don't know how long this review is. I got a lot of notes. I took a lot of them, and some of them are probably not worth it. So we might just breeze past some stuff. There's a lot. If you're seeing what I'm seeing, which you're not, it's a lot. Terrifier 2 for TLDR. You don't want to know what the plot or anything like that. What I think about specific moments. 9 out of 10. Easily a 9 out of 10. I had a blast watching this movie. It is so freaking good. Good cast of characters. All of them likable for the most part. There's some moments, like with Brooke. We'll get into who she is a little bit later. But with her, she can be a little bit bitchy after a certain scene. Not spoilers, but like after the party scene. She'd be a little bit bitchy and like, okay, you're a little standoffish and all this stuff. But for the most part, everybody is likable. I liked almost all the cast for like most of the movie. A lot of it takes place during the day, and everything is well lit. It still has that grindhouse filter over it, which is great. But it's actually like in the day, and you can see things, and Art's doing stuff in the daytime. And the best part, there's an actual plot. Holy shit, there's an actual plot. I said 2 hours and 18 minutes. It could have been shortened down to maybe an hour and 45. Maybe if Art put a gun to my head and said, narrow this down to 90 minutes, I don't know what I would cut. Maybe there's some stuff. I don't know. I don't even know where I would begin. I don't know how I'm doing this review. I spent 45 minutes talking about Terrifier 1 and editing that, and then I sat down to record this. I don't know how long it's gonna go. I'm gonna try to speed past this. So if you're looking for an in-depth review of this ain't it. I made a horrible decision to start the first, oh god, not another review show, with a double feature. Oh my god, everything else I'm reviewing is like less than 90 minutes or less than 2 hours, and it's one movie. I just watched 4 hours of Art, so you're gonna have to forgive me for being a little loopy. Right away, some noticeable stuff. There's a Bloody Disgusting credit, which now it makes sense why they're so fucking hard on the advertising for this. When this movie came out, every single one of their tweets, every other one would be like, Terrifier 2, box office smash, fans love it, buh. Now I understand why. Now, I don't know what the fuck their attachment is, but now I know why. Practical effects are still top-notch. This movie opens up with the aftermath of T1. Art kills the coroner. He replaces his busted-ass eye that he shot through with a doctor's eye. That's pretty cool. I don't know. I can't show any of this, so there might be some snippets here. This is not how this show is gonna go from here on out. I'm gonna try to show like the important moments that I talk about, but it's fucking Terrifier. This will be the same thing for Terrifier 3 when I eventually get to that. Maybe the other movies he's done, because they're all connected, maybe. But Art from there goes to a laundromat. We see Art's ass. I told you he was a sex symbol. In all its glory. He's doing laundry. He's just sitting in a chair, and then the the washing machine turns off, and he peers around a corner, and there's a little girl, and I went, what the fuck? There's two of them now? One is a little girl? And then she shits on the floor? Why? I have no idea. And why I say, like, there's two of them, she is dressed to the letter as Art. Yeah. She goes over to him, she starts playing patty cake with him, he's like, okay, yeah. And then we get a different camera angle from, like, a different point of view. She's not real. She's a ghost. Okay. You got me there. It's a good opener overall. I really enjoyed it. Got me hooked. Like, alright, let's see this. Alright, cool. Then we get a credit I wasn't expecting. Chris Jericho is in this. The GOAT. Don't know why. And, I was kind of wondering, like, when is he gonna show up? That was, like, the part in the back of my head. Like, when is he gonna show up? Spoiler, post-credit scene. Yeah. We made our main characters. I can say that, because spoilers, none of them die or get replaced like Tara and Dawn in the first one, where we get to know them for 30 minutes and then they're killed. And it's like, well, fuck. We get attached to these characters. That's a great feeling. Damien Leone really learned some shit in between, what, the 6 years these two movies came out? Great. Excellent. Love it. We get introduced to Sierra, Jonathan, who is a weird boy. It is said straight up, he's a weird one. Sienna is in high school. We don't get her age, but later on we do get Jonna is 12. We see their mom. She's like a works at home, but she takes calls about insurance. That's what we get. And they got a hot mom. I'll say that. I'll quote Watsky. What makes me weep? Call it a boo-hootie. Hot mom. Other moms are doing their squats wrong. I don't know why I read it like Christopher Walken. That was weird. It is currently 1:30 in the morning when I'm talking about this. I just closed Prime. That is where we're at in my life right now. But we go through, like, okay, they're doing stuff. We're getting to know the characters. At this point, I wrote down, I can't get attached to these characters because I don't know if they'll get killed in 30 minutes. Spoilers, they don't. Fucking great. I don't know why autocorrect changed cafe to cage, but Sienna's in her bed watching spooky, scary stuff, and she's flipping, and then she flips to a commercial for Clown Cafe, and it is the start of a dream sequence. And it's very weird. There's grown-ass adults cosplaying as kids. There's a clown player with a banjo, a 6-string banjo. I don't know if those actually exist. All I know is like the 4 strings. I don't have a banjo. Might get one for reasons. But it's a weird sequence, and it's a song. It's catchy as hell. I don't remember it off the top of my head. Where are we going with this? Where am I going with this? Art shows up. They're like, hey, we got a special guest today, Art the Clown. He comes in, he gives lollipop and candy apples and food to popcorn and all this other stuff to the kids, and he goes over to his bag and he pulls out a fucking Tommy gun and blows everybody away. Sienna's in the dream. It's her dream, obviously. She like gets shot in the leg. She crawls over to the other set that we see in it for like art-os or art design cereal, right? And she like reaches in, gets cut up by glass, but reaches in and pulls out a fucking sword. And Art has a flamethrower. It's a long story. He goes to fire the flamethrower at her, but she blocks it with the sword. And then she wakes up to a big old fire. The costume she was working on for Halloween, the wings caught fire. And it's a big scene. She gets out, she's coughing like, oh my god, it's terrible. Her mom's like, what the fuck? It's a fire! And she gets the fire extinguisher, she puts it out. She has a big talk with like, oh fuck it, how did you fall asleep with candles? What the near like feathers, you're dumb, stupid. Sienna? Yeah, Sienna goes back into her room, and like, she noted the sword that was in the fire is untouched. So you go, that's weird. We cut to Art tinkering on his normal shenaniganery. Yes, he's making new toys. While girl Art watches the interview from the first movie. there's very important lore in this. That blew me away that we got lore in this. I am so giddy because this movie is fucking amazing. But like he's working and he walks over, he's like, he gets pissed off and he kicks the TV. And I'm like, that's the wrong color. In the first movie it was like orange or some shit. I don't remember. We cut to Johnny at school. His friends are in a corner behind like a dumpster playing with a dead possum, and that's a very drawn out scene. It plays into the scene before at breakfast where I think it's at breakfast or before that where she's talking to her hot mom. Other moms are doing the squats wrong, like I said. And she's like, yeah, like, what's up with him? Like, he's just a weird kid. He's just a weirdo. And she's like, no, because he was talking about, like, dressing up as Art the Clown for Halloween. Art the Clown is never mentioned. It's only drawn on walls. Very weird we don't mention the man's name. It's always like the Millview or whatever the fuck it is, killer clown. And he's like, I'm gonna dress up like that. And then, like, they're eating dinner. And he's like, oh, did you know Nazis injected stuff into kids' eyeballs to see if they change colors? Great conversation for the dinner table. We'll get to more of that. And she's like, he's just a fucking weird kid. Why is he talking about that shit? He's weird. And she says, like, yeah, see, that's serial killer shit. Don't be surprised if there's a dead animal in the house. And then we cut later on. I think that was like before the dream sequence. I'm all over the place. It's fine. So his friends find a dead possum. Okay, they get in trouble. John is in school taking a test. He's got wandering eyes. Teacher catches him. He's like, can I be excused? He's like, can I be excused is the proper thing I should have said. He goes to get a drink and he sees little girl, I can't speak, 1:30 in the morning after watching 2.5 hours of Terrifier. The little girl is haunting the halls. It's a very hard sentence to say. Very Nightmare on Elm Street. Very Nightmare on Elm Street. He finds Art and the girl playing with a dead possum. Fun. He's like nurturing it, and then he fucking hucks it at Johnny. And Johnny goes running, and the principal is like, what the fuck? I think it's a principal or it's a teacher, who knows. Like, what the fuck? What are you doing? Get back here. And he's just fucking off, and she turns like, dead possum. Like, oh shit, okay. Did I write? No, I didn't write down. He gets sent home. He gets sent home a little later, like we see, like, oh, he gets sent home and he's in trouble. Let's get to your room, mister. That whole shit. It starts a progress of character growth or some shit. We see Sienna at school. The interview from the first movie is revealed to take place during this movie, 1 year after the first movie. Okay. Like, Sienna's eating breakfast with her friend Allie and Brooke. There's Brooke. And Brooke says, like, yeah, did you hear about what happened to the... What is her name? Britt Madison? I don't remember. Did you hear what happened to her? Oh, yeah, she got attacked by that interview that she was doing last night. So I'm like, what the fuck? Oh, shit. Okay, the timeline is very fucky. So... Okay, the interview we see at the beginning and her getting mauled at the beginning of the first movie, that takes place during this scene or the night before this scene. So it's very weird. And she's like, yeah, her face is all like fucked up. It's like, that's great breakfast talk. Sienna then has a fucking panic attack in the corner. Great. I think after this was the John is home, gets sent home scene, so we covered that. They go shopping for replacement wings. Art shows up in the flesh. Question mark. It's very unclear why he is back. It's never really explained. Then he fucks with Sienna, stalking her through the costume shop. She goes to pay for wings, and he's like, oh, it's $32 or some shit. And she's like, I think I left it in my bag. And he just slams down the bag, Art does. He returns her bag. How thoughtful. And then he's just in the background. He's playing dress up. He's putting on googly eyes and all this stuff. He's fucking around. I think I love Art in this moment. Like, oh my god, he's so out there and so weird and so fun. I'm hoping they don't ruin it. That is my thought process at this very moment. He tries to buy a new horn and has the exact change. Maybe not. Ricky the store clerk harasses him about it. Frankly, very rude to a customer. Customer's always right, Ricky. And he dies for his transgressions. Thumbs up. Very brutal. Very bloody. Okay. Sienna is home, walking through her house. She's like, wait, why are you home? She sees Jonathan. She's like, why are you home? John has his father's sketchbook. And she goes, why do you have Dad's sketchbook? Dad's dead, by the way. We learned. But he sees, she's like, you got his sketchbook. We've been looking for this. You know this. And Jonathan thinks there's a connection. He starts showing these clippings, especially one of a murdered girl, 9-year-old girl, and we go, oh, that's the same picture of the ghost girl. There's a connection here, and their dad had drawings of Art and the movie's first kills in his sketchbook. Very weird. And then my wandering eye noticed that Jonathan has a nuclear blast sticker on his dresser, and Jonathan has a good taste in music. Machine Head all the way. I asked the question, who is their dad? It is never answered. We get an explanation later, but it's fine. I just simply wrote, tell your mom, Sienna. Oh, because they were having a conversation of like, what the fuck is happening? He's like, yeah, he's talking about this fucking clown. What the fuck? I'm like, just tell her that you saw Art at the fucking costume shop. I know Allie, her friend, was like, yeah, there's a lot of sickos gonna be dressing up like him. It's fucking Halloween. Can't help that. Art shows up at Allie's house, just wants some candy. He's like shaking his garbage bag in front of her. Give him candy. Just give him some candy, Allie. She throws the candy at him after he like keeps harassing the door. He's knocking. She's like, fine, here. We go back to Sienna's house. She's watching the news about the attack on the interviewer, revealing she is in critical but stable condition. The interviewer isn't dead. Mind-blowing. I thought she was fucking dead. She got her eyes gouged out, all this other shit. She's not dead. Probably blind, no eyeballs, but she's not dead. And then the TV person, the news anchor, is like, yeah, that's not gonna help. Right, Sienna? And it's like, very Nightmare on Elm Street, very cool. And then she chugs some pills. We learn later, Xanax. Whoa, what happens next? I'm trying to, fuck it, it's 2 hours, two and a half hours. It's a long movie, man. It's a long movie. We got a weird shower / getting dressed montage scene. There's no nudity, but Sienna shows a lot of skin to the point where I had to pause the movie and Google the actress to make sure I'm not the weird guy for thinking someone a lot younger than me is very attractive. Lauren Lavera, the actress who plays Sienna, is only 3 years younger than me, so it's cool for me to say I think she's very attractive. There you go, internet. I also thought Dawn from the first movie is very attractive. You should go back and review that, what I thought of her fucking scene. Art is in Allie's house. Should have just given him some candy. She dies in an incredibly brutal fucking way. Like, holy shit, this is over the top. Like, brutal. Like, oh my god. And I'm like getting flashbacks like, oh shit, this is gonna be it. This is the downfall. This is like 45 minutes in, I'm like, this is gonna be the downfall. This is where I turn on the movie. Oh shit, uh-oh. Because she's like trying to get ready. She's got like a robe on, and she's in her bra and panties, like, uh-oh, oh fuck, oh shit, oh fuck, oh shit. Very brutal scene. It is so over the top, but it actually has a point, because there's a plot here. Unlike Dawn's death, where it was just for shock value. I think it was just for shock value. If it wasn't, whatever, from my point of standing, seeing that scene was just like, be shocked. Be shocked, damn you. Are you shocked yet? It's like, no, I'm kind of fucking over this scene. It should have been like 15, 20 seconds shorter. But it's so over the top and brutal, but it has a point because it's a part in the plot. So, her death is incredibly brutal. Or at least I thought she died. Allie's mom comes home, is like, there's a lot of candy in that bucket. Have you been answering the door? Like, and then she sees the glass that Art broke through. It's up earlier in the scene. It is what it is. She goes up to her room and she finds that Art is playing with her guts Not in a sexual way, because he hacked off her arm and he's just like cutting into her leg and her stomach. But she's still alive. Somehow. She literally turns to her mom and goes, "Brrr." I can't show it. I can't show any of this movie. But you kind of get it, and then we get the scene later where there's knocking on the door, and Art opens it with a bowl of candy. He's great with children, man. He gives out the candy. It's out of Allie's severed head. Allie is finally dead. Jesus fucking Christ, it's brutal. Before that, we get a scene of party time. There's a school, not a school party, but Allie and Brooke are supposed to meet up with, no, Sienna and Brooke are supposed to meet up with Allie to go to their friend's party. Party time. Let's get fucked up. I forget what Brooke orders, but Sienna orders a rum and coke, and then Sienna orders 2 shots of tequila for both of them, 1 shot each. Sounds like a very bad idea. Very bad idea. There's a lot of people at this party. All I can think is, this is gonna be a fucking massacre, and I'm here for it. Spoilers, never happens. Shockingly, there's not a lot. There's a large body count in this room waiting to happen. Never happens. Okay. Their mom tries to, MILF, as we will call her from here on out, tries to make amends with Jonathan. He's like, see, this is it. And she goes, that's your father's scrapbook. You know he was losing it. She rips the scrapbook up, like ripping pages out and saying that their dad was sick. Jonathan calls her a bitch and rightfully gets slapped. Have some respect for your hot mom, Johnny. He then runs away. Party time again. Surely more alcohol will be a good idea. They keep drinking. Cut back. If I'm skimming over stuff, like these are longer scenes, it's fine. Cut back. MILF takes some pills with some wine. Surely a great idea. She goes out to the garage to find her car covered in shaving cream and toilet paper with the word bitch written on it. She's like, Jonathan! She gets super fucking angry. At this point, there's an hour left in the movie. Nothing has taken me out of it yet. Good signs. Party time again! Sienna is fucking hammered. We get this weird scene where her and Brooke walk to this secluded area, like near the, maybe near the entrance of the building. And I'm watching this like, are they gonna fuck? It's like, oh my god, there's such a kind of sexual tension there. I'm just like, are they gonna kiss? Are they gonna just like start locking lips and be like interrupted by Brooke's boyfriend Jeff? We'll get to him later. I'm like, this is a real scene that could happen in this movie. No. Brooke reveals that she spiked Sienna's drink with half a tablet of Molly. Fun! This becomes my favorite part of the movie, I think. There's a real good juxtaposition between Sienna partying, shots of her like, oh my god, I'm so fucked up, and Jonathan running away from home. It's fun time versus being stalked by Art. For some reason, no reason has been given yet, and I'm pretty sure there's a vague one given towards the end, but we'll get into that. I just wrote down, little girl gives me the fucking creeps. That's very true because Jonathan is all running away. He's walking down the street. He gets like jump scared by a group of children that come out of nowhere, quite frankly, just a mob of them, fucking terrorists, basically. And then a van honks, a blacked out van, just pure like fucking flat black painted. And he walks over. He's like, "What? Nobody's in there." He looks to the side of the car. It honks again. He looks back, and the ghost girl is sitting there. Her eyes are glowing. She is a shadow, but with glowing eyes. It's fucking terrifying. It gives me the fucking creeps. Sienna looks at her phone. Party time again. She looks at her phone and is like, oh my god, my mom called me like 6 times. And she goes to call her back, and Sienna's like, don't do that. No, Brooke says like, that's a bad idea. Don't do that. She calls her mom back. Her mom is like, dear fucking brother! She's fucking pissed. Again, another good juxtaposition. The party, you hear the music going in the background, the lights strobing, hell yeah, party time. And her being pissed. Very good. And I just simply wrote down, the jig is up and gone. You get that reference? Cool. You don't? I'm fucking old. But her mom is like, you're drunk. You've been drinking. How many did you have? And she's like, no, I haven't. And her mom is like, I can tell your voice. I can tell it in your voice. You're drunk. If you come home fucking shit-faced, I will fucking murder you. And then Sienna tells her mom that she loves her. And Sienna's mom goes, huh? Like, yeah, no, I love you. And she says, and I quote, I mean it. I don't say it enough.
Really, Mom. I love you, boys.
I don't say it enough.
That line hit me right in the fucking soul. Because I'm not gonna get into an emotional explanation of my flaws during a review for fucking Terrifier 2, so we'll skip past that. MILF is cleaning her car when she wipes the window, and Art appears in the front seat, pulls out a sawed-off shotgun, and blows her fucking head off. A legit shocking death, especially right after you hit me in the soul 3 minutes before it. I have to say this with all earnest. Good job, Damien Leone. Fucking great job. The evolution from Terrifier 1 to Terrifier 2, mind-blowing. He has evolved his writing, because he's the writer on this, again, and the director. Fantastic. He has evolved so much between both movies. Got back to party time. Ghost Girl shows up to the party. Pretty sure she's too young for Molly, but I don't know the rules. I've never taken drugs. Okay. Johnny goes home to see his mother sitting at the dinner table without a face, as you'd expect. But then Art's here to serve dinner. He's a sex symbol and a cook, a 5-tool player. He then takes a handful of mashed potatoes or whatever the fuck and mashes it into her face, the MILF's face. Don't know why. He then chases Johnny, catches them, and then drugs him. It isn't shown. It's like it's very heavily implied. He's got a giant syringe. Johnny's on the floor like, no, don't. He fucking grabs Johnny's neck, turns his head to the sideways so you get that nice carotid artery. And it's like slowly going in. We cut to just static shot of Art, just Art in the frame, and he pulls the needle up. It's like, oh, it is implied you are drugging the child, I guess. What he does do, and we see, is he takes the sword. We find out way earlier that sword was given to Sienna by her dad, who also designed a character for her that he, quote, told her that she will become. Foreshadowing. Art kidnaps Johnny. Ghost Girl calls Sienna. Sienna sees the Ghost Girl, forgot to say this, sees the Ghost Girl, and she has a fucking breakdown in the middle of the floor, and then we cut to Johnny at home. Then we cut to, Jeff. Remember Jeff? Brooks' BF. Jeff, driving them home, right? Driving, home, and Brooks pissed, right, when I said, like, oh, after the party scene, she's a little bitchy, she's, like, blaming Sienna, like, oh my god. And Sienna says, like, yo, you could have fucking killed me. And Brooks says something like, yeah, I gave you a pinch of Molly, but you're also on Xanax. I didn't give you Xanax. That's when we find out she's been taking Xanax. Jeff is playing, like, morally good dude. I just wrote down, Brooks BF is a good dude. Because Ghost Girl calls Sienna and faking that she's John. He's like, I'm stuck at the abandoned carnival. We have that in town. And Jeff is like, Brooke is like, no, fuck that. We're not. We're taking you home. And Brooke's boyfriend Jeff is just like, it's only a couple minutes away. I'll just take you there. He's a good dude. He's a great dude. Cool dude. Before shit happens to him. Showdown at the abandoned carnival. They get there. Brooke is like, where the fuck is he? And Sienna's like, I'm just gonna go fucking look for him. She gets out of the car. We get like her wandering around the abandoned carnival because it's a fucking Scooby-Doo episode now. We get a huge fucking lore dump from Brooke. Sienna's dad had a brain tumor. I had to pause the video and write this down because I wanted to get this accurate. Sienna's dad had a brain tumor. Towards the end of it, he started seeing things, and he became abusive, particularly towards Sienna. She never elaborated, like, oh, he fucking hit her, he became this or that. We don't know. He just became abusive towards her. We can only assume, for one reason or another, that is revealed later. One day, he drank an entire bottle of Jack Daniels, got into his car, and drove into an electronical electrical transformer. She said transformer thingy, so I'm assuming that's what it is. The car caught fire almost instantly. He burned to death. Quote, his screams could be heard for miles. Jesus fucking Christ. Yeah. Sienna's walking around the abandoned carnival. She gets a text. Or she gets a call. She calls him, she picks up or whatever. She gets a call. One of those. And he's like, where are you? And it's just garbled gook. He says, well, fucking text me. And she texts him, where are you? And he says, I'm stuck. She goes, what are you talking about? Where are you stuck? And just all caps, the Terrifier. Oh. Okay, he's trapped in a haunted house called the Terrifier. We see him wake up. Ghost Girl's carving her face like a goddamn jack-o'-lantern, laughing at him. Fun. We cut back to Brooke and Jeff. Car makeout sesh. Horror movie, that's a no-no. Jeff, no shit. He takes a bump of coke. And she's like, what are you doing? I'm not doing that. I did that once, bad experience. He's like, whatever. He takes a bump, she takes a bump. They start making out, and she's like, where is Sienna? I'm getting a little worried. He's like, what? Let's just fucking raw dog right here. It's fine. He doesn't say that, because he's a good dude. But she's like, I'm just gonna call him. He goes like, alright, fine. And he opens the door, she's like, where are you going? And he no shit says, I have to go pee-pee.
Where are you going?
I have to go pee-pee. You wanna hold it?
No, leave.
And then he leaves the fucking car. And then we go for like a beat where she's calling, she's not picking up, like, and then jump scare Jeff, smacks on the thing, and he threatens to pour his cocaine into the ashtray. We get, follow Jeff outside to the back of the car. He whips it out, we don't see it. I thought, we're gonna see Jeff Dick in this. For both players. He starts to pee, and then Art, out of nowhere, stabs the poor man in the dick. He stabs him repeatedly in the cock. So much abuse is taken by that Johnson. That ding-dong gets ripped off. Art just reaches in his pants, goes, rip, and then walks around to the other side, to the fucking car window where Brooke is, and goes, hi, smashes his ripped-off bloody ding-dong on the window, and she goes, oh my god. He goes to kill her, but she gets a solid boot to the face. She runs off into the Terrifier, but Art eventually catches up. She dies. He teases like, I'm gonna beat you with this new spiked cudgel I have, and then throws fucking hydrochloric acid in her face and then beats her to death. He then rips her heart out and eats it. I don't know why. Sienna finds the body. Art is fucking laughing, because he always is. She fights back, but she gets the shit kicked out of her. She gets thrown into everything in that goddamn room. Brutal. She's knocked out. Art walks away. He goes looking for Johnny. Sienna gets back up and grabs the club. Johnny is hiding. Art's like, "Boo, where are you?" And he walks away. Johnny tries to run, but he runs right into Art, and Art just starts cutting him. He cuts you good. He's like fucking slashing with a scalpel. Brutal. Sienna then walks up with the cudgel and starts beating the shit out of Art with his own makeshift weapon. To the point where she lodges it in the back of his skull. Metal as fuck. She rescues Johnny, and they have a touching sibling moment. I'm rubbing my eyes, that's why it sounds like I'm in a tunnel. We have a touching sibling moment. Johnny then tells her this is the place that Dad saw, and she's the only one who can stop Art. Okay. Oh, what the fuck? Okay. We got an undead church, classic. Art's there. Sienna's trying to find him with a stick of her own. Art raises up from behind Johnny, and the Cat of Nine Tails returns, and he seems to have mastered it, because he's going to town on both of them. He's fucking beating the shit out of them. We have a weird slow-mo slashing moment where he's beating Johnny, and it's slow-mo, he's giggling, and Sienna covers his body and takes the lashes herself. She then catches the Cat of Nine Tails and beats Art with it, and she's beating him like a government mule. By God! She's like, oh, I did it. We get the classic music drop to zero. Stinger! Classic fake out, Art jump scare. Choke Sienna. While on the floor, Johnny grabs Art's shotgun from out of his sock holster that he has, and we have a great moment where Art goes, oh, looks at, I don't know if I'm going to be able to show this. No idea how much I'm going to be able to show. But he looks at Johnny and goes, oh, raises his arms, goes, oh, and then gets blown the fuck away. Good on you, Johnny. Sienna then passes out because of the choking. Very, very, she passes out though, and she hears her mom telling her to wake up. Probably just the Molly, but whatever. Her MILF mom tells her, it's okay, it's alright, everything will be alright. Johnny goes, that's not her! It's Ghost Girl! She hits Sienna with a Psyshock. It's super effective, showing her mom's death. Enough time passed during that Psyshock attack where Art takes Johnny somewhere. Because Sienna finds Art standing over Johnny's passed out corpse, not lifeless, passed out. She starts to fucking beat on his chest like it's gonna do something. She gets choked out for her wares and then thrown through boards into a basement. By God, she's broken in half, but she's living. There's, for some reason, a pit down there that is surrounded by circus lights, like the big old Edison bulbs. Don't know why, it's not explained. She takes a minute to come to, get to her feet, turns around, right into Art, stabbing her with her own sword. And then she falls into the pit, and Art drops the sword into the pit. And we hear the Clown Cafe jingle again, 2 hours later. Don't know why, okay. We cut to the set of Clown Cafe, and Sienna is trapped in a tank full of water on the set of the Clown Cafe commercial. Don't know why. It's a very kind of drawn out scene. We get a lot like, oh my God, it's the dead version of them that she saw get killed in her dream. Okay, weird. Art tries to wake up Johnny by like clapping and slapping and like, oh, he's out, and Art's just kind of like, oh, fucking whatever. We cut to Sienna drowning. She drowned. She's dead? Question mark. Johnny finally starts to stir because Art starts to eat him. He's like biting his wrist. He goes, ah! His cries for help. Follow me here. I had a hard time following, so you gotta grab my hand, take my hand. We'll get through it. He cries, Sienna, help me! That cry for help charges the sword, and we cut back to her drowned body in the tank, and it charges her stab wound. And that goes on for a little bit. She climbs out of the pit, and she fucking stabs Art with the sword. And then she's like stabbing this motherfucker. He's taking damage. He's like, ow, it hurts. She cuts his head. She cuts him in the neck. And like Art, she's like, she cuts him. She starts hacking away. And Art just looks at her, nods, and then smiles, and then reveals his neck. She fucking takes his head off. Art is dead. Again, baby. Ghost Girl walks into frame, starts playing with Art's head. Her eyes glow again when she looks at Johnny for some reason. Maybe Terrifier 3 will explain it. We don't know why. I don't know, but she absconds with Art's head. Very good word, absconds. And we get a melancholy, happy ending where their mom is dead, their dad is dead, but they survived. They killed the evil. A lot of her friends are dead, but at least she survived. Hell yeah. Credits, credits, credits. Post-credit scene, psych ward, security guard, motherfucking Chris Jericho, the GOAT. Great. All through the movie, I was like, where is he? I wonder where he's gonna be. I was looking through the credits they put up, like, where is he? Where is he? And then psych ward, security guard, Chris Jericho. We open up the post-credit scene with Vicky bashing her head into the toilet? Or puking, now that I know what happened, puking into the toilet. We get the nurse, they make, her and Chris Jericho make some banter about his wife making a plate of food. It's like, oh, it's zombie brains, the nurse is like, oh, I don't have the stomach because her face is fucking gross. We get cuts in between them talking of Vicky painting the wall with her own blood. I'm like, that's a lot of blood that's coming out of somewhere. Where's it coming from? And she then reaches betwixt her legs. oops, it's that time of the month, I guess. And she's drawing, like, she's writing on the wall. There's the C word. She called it the word whore. She moves away to a heart, revealing Vicky plus Art. Oh, shit. And then she gives birth to Art's severed head. And then her one good eye glows like Ghost Girl's. Why? Don't know. Smash cut to credits. That is Terrifier 2. I fucking loved this. I had a blast. I hope this is what Terrifier 3 is. Like the Bloody Disgusting article or interview with Damien Leone. He was like, yeah, it's gonna be a mixture of Terrifier 1, Terrifier 2. Don't do that. I know we're like 6 days away from the release, but don't do that. Make it more like Terrifier 2, because this was great. This was fantastic. I had a blast watching it. Nothing was done without a purpose. We had main characters that we could follow and get attached to. Excellent. Well fucking done. I had the realization before sitting down to watch this that nobody talks about Terrifier 1. Every time somebody's like, oh my god, Terrifier is great. Oh yeah, which one? Terrifier 2. That's the one they talk about. I can see why. Terrifier 1, it is a required or an acquired taste. This one, if you like slashers, gory messes, this is it. This is a fucking great movie. 10 out of 10. 9 out of 10. Nothing's perfect. Yet. And that is both Terrifiers done. Because this is a special occasion, the first ever episode of Oh God, Not Another Review Show, and it is a special episode because it's a double feature. Those will not be few and far between. Hopefully this is probably not the only one. Probably not the only one, because there's a lot of movies out there, but probably the only one. Give a cumulative score, right? I rated Terrifier 1 a 6 out of 10. The newly revised score after thinking it over, 6 out of 10. Terrifier 2 is a solid 9 out of 10. So, as a whole, the franchise thus far, because Terrifier 1, you kinda need to watch, which I would recommend if you're this far into the video and like you haven't seen them and you're like, oh, they sound interesting, even though I spoiled everything. Go watch them. Go support the official release, right? There's a lot of stuff I can't show you in this video because it is so gory. You kind of gotta go see it. My descriptions do not do them justice. But because Terrifier 1 is so kind of integral to the lore, I never thought I'd say like, oh, the lore of Terrifier. You kind of gotta know at least who Vicky is and what she went through. Kinda, there's a bit of hints towards what happened to in the first movie. Like we get a shot in the sketchbook of Mike, I believe was the exterminator's name. His death, getting his face stomped in. If you remember the review of Terrifier 1, what, 40 minutes ago. So there's little things, but then again, you kind of could just watch this movie on its own. And it would be fine because we have a deeper connection with Vicky at the end. Like, oh, it's Vicky. She's in the cell. And, like, her drawing the heart. Like, oh, all right. And then giving birth to Art's severed fucking head. Again, it's insane to say. It's even more insane to watch. So if you're like, oh, I gotta see that. Well, go watch the original release. Support the official release. Support Damien Leone and Steve Barton, who is the producer on it. I'm pretty sure he might be the reason why it looks so good, and it's lit up and it's bright, although Damien Leone is the writer, so he probably wrote in this takes place during the day, etc., etc. But I think you could watch Terrifier 2 all by itself and be fine, because you get that little snippet of Ghost Girl watching the interview. You kind of get that. You get told, oh, you hear about what happened to whatever the hell the interviewer's name, it keeps escaping my head. But you kind of get that little stuff that you could kind of just pick up. So Terrifier as a whole, the franchise so far, the 1 and 2, the Deuce, the duology, I'll give it a solid 7 7 out of 10, 7.5 out of 10. We'll say 7.5 out of 10, a solid like A-, right? Because again, Terrifier 1 was good up until a point for me personally. It was great up until Dawn's death scene, which was overly drawn out and too long in my opinion. It was just there for shock value. I was like, oh my god, it's going on. Solid like minute and a half, 2 minutes. Could have been cut down to 45, would have been fine. Made that movie a lot better. And then we just follow a cast of characters that is a revolving door for Art to kill. It's kind of inconsequential who survives at the end, except for it's Vicky. That's the only reason, right? So because of that, and Terrifier is a straight up 9 out of 10, at least 7.5 out of 10 as a franchise. Now, let's talk about the reason why I watched both Terrifiers for the first episode, right? It is because Steve Barton, like I said before, explaining what Terrifier 2 is and all the rundown, Steve Barton wants Art the Clown in Dead by Daylight as his own character. I'm not going to do this for every goddamn movie I review, by the way. This is a one and done, because this is a special occasion, damn it. First episode, I watched Terrifier 1 and 2 because I had to see what the hype was about. This annoying little buzzing of a fly of Steve Barton on Twitter. He could be a great dude. Uncle Creepy is his fucking Twitter handle, I believe. He could be the greatest dude ever, but he's very annoying. And the hype train is starting up for Terrifier 3. He's getting there again. I see his posts retweet because I follow Bloody Disgusting because they're a great website. Obviously, they have a great taste in Terrifier 2. He is annoying. Okay, that's why I wanted to watch Terrifier and Terrifier 2. Let's answer his biggest question, or his biggest request that he is asked for, nay, demanded. Should Art the Clown be in Dead by Daylight as his own character? Not a skin for the clown. Again, the guy I main, probably the footage you're watching on screen. Should he be in as his own character? From a gameplay standpoint, no. We can debate all day if he's iconic enough or what have you. I like him as a character. He's charismatic. He's funny. He's very emotive. He's very brutal. But the most hilarious thing about Steve and everybody else's want and desire for Art to be in Dead by Daylight is they do not realize Art isn't special enough. He's a dude with weapons. That's pretty much it. What makes him different than someone like Ghostface or Michael Myers? Just dudes with knives. He doesn't have any special powers, even when he is resurrected into. He doesn't have really anything that is out of the ordinary outside of weaponry, right? He can teleport, kinda, but so can Jason Voorhees, and if we get Art instead of Jason, I'm gonna have a problem with the entire country of Canada. I'm gonna throw fists, Kote. We're gonna have a problem. He is just a guy with weapons. The only thing interesting would be his Mori animation, and even then, you get one of those per killer, and God help behavior if it's Dawn's death scene. There's a lot to choose from. You can do a lot of references. You can even do something original, but as a character, he is not special enough to distance himself from other characters, other icons like Ghostface, like Michael, like Jason, people with knives. He's no different than, if you're familiar with WWE, if you're watching the channel, hey, hi, you probably might want to get a little acquainted. He's no different than Legion, right? If we're looking at some things, even Trapper, the most basic bitch killer in Dead by Daylight, is more special than Art the Clown because he puts down bear traps to catch survivors. Art the Clown has nothing special. He has a wide variety of weapons. Maybe you can make him a stance switcher where he chooses a different weapon, but even then, I don't think he'd be worth it to have in Dead by Daylight as his own character. A skin for maybe not even Clown. He does throw acid at Brooke in the one scene, so maybe you could change Clown's bottles to like acid or a different color. Maybe that could be fun. But I think he should just be a skin for another killer. He's not special enough. Sorry, I know it's gonna upset a lot of people. Sorry, Mr. Barton. if you're the guy who was like, yo, we should make this brighter in here and make it daytime and make it more interesting to look at, fucking hats off to the bull there. Great choice. Art doesn't, I don't want to say doesn't belong in Dead by Daylight, but he doesn't belong in as his own separate character. Although I could say the same thing about some other films with... I'm not gonna get into that. Okay, so we got a special treat here. I've decided let's watch the official trailer for Terrifier 3 before I sit down and edit the Terrifier 2 review, because it took me like a couple hours to edit the Terrifier 1 review, so I figured, hey, let's do something that I don't have to edit. I could just drag, drop, and be done with it. Let's watch the Terrifier 3 Naughty Cut. I'm assuming this is the Red Band trailer. Should I... we'll watch it, I'll react to it. But if I can't show it, then whoops. Let's go. We got art.
He survived the most famous serial killer since Jack the Ripper.
Yeah, okay. That's all shots from the movie.
Anniversary's coming up. I think a lot of people would really like to hear from you after all this time. Want to know what it's like to be in the presence of that kind of evil. What goes through your brain when he's close enough to you. You feel his breath.
Oh, that's a no-no. Art knows that's a no. He's got a chainsaw and glasses. What the fuck? Oh my god, it's Art the Clown. Bloody disgusting screen box. Oh yeah, college now?
Oh. How do you sure it was really him? I could feel it. Who's this Santa? He's scaring my kid.
Yeah, he's scaring me too.
Hey, Santa's handing out presents!
Oh no. Okay, I was like, it's gonna be something fucked up, right? This October.
Why would he come back here? Even if he was alive, which he isn't. Wouldn't you want to get as far away from here as possible, as far away from you?
You both know this isn't over.
Oh.
I have to go back to the Terrifier.
The Terrifier.
Still buried there, isn't it?
Might be the only thing that could stop them.
Okay. Oh. Jericho's back! The goat. Hold on, we gotta back up. We're making bold promises, bold proclamations. Promise to be the 2024 scariest movie yet. What? Oh, Smile? When I review that, it's gonna be the best comedy movie I've ever seen. Fucking laughable. Art is practically as much of a horror icon as Michael, Jason, and Freddy. I don't think you say Art the Clown and people go, oh fuck yeah, that guy. You say Michael Myers, Jason Voorhees, or Freddy Krueger, people go, oh shit, yeah, I know them. I don't know, he's pretty iconic. He's not that level. Sorry, Mr. Barton. Whoa. Oh no, Chris. We got a new logo.
Looking forward to the best Christmas ever, filled with fun, smiles, and laughter.
Oh. That's I believe that's music from the first one. Okay. So that looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. A lot of similar vibes to Terrifier 2. Great, that's a great sign. There were reports today that in the UK screenings, early screenings, I think it was like 11 people walked out. Fun, including I think 9 additional people walking out within the first 10 or so minutes, like after the opening scene. And people are saying, oh, the opening scene promises to be the most brutal death scene in the franchise's history. That sounds pretty ominous. So, okay. Let's cut back to whatever the hell I was alluding to and end this episode. And that will conclude this first inaugural episode of Oh God, not another review show. It is super fun to do. What gives me a very good excuse to watch some horror movies that everybody's talking about, or maybe not so talking about, and just talk about them. Great, love it. So we'll see what's on the docket for next. But I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Ognars. Let me know what you think of today's feature presentation, and until our next showing, goodbye.